All right, let's talk about something that's literally the backbone of the entire Phoenix economy, but you probably drive right past it every single day. I'm talking about those massive storage tanks that hold everything from our water supply to jet fuel. We're going to dive into why inspecting the welds on these tanks is way more than just a maintenance checkbox. It's about safety, security, and yeah, staying on the right side of the law. I mean, just think about it for a second. Maricopa County is this massive hub. We've got petroleum terminals that fuel the entire Southwest, chemical plants that are absolutely essential for our semiconductor industry, and of course, the water systems that keep this whole valley alive. All of it, all of it depends on millions and millions of gallons of stuff stored in these giant tanks. And if just one of them fails, that's not just a bad day, that's a potential crisis. So, this brings up a really critical question, especially if you're the one managing one of these facilities. It's a question that hits you right in the budget, your risk profile, and your legal responsibilities. Can you say with 100% certainty that your tanks are secure and that you are meeting every single regulation? And that question matters so much because here in the Valley of the Sun, the stakes are just, well, they're incredibly high. A tank failure isn't just about losing some product. We're talking about the kind of stuff you see on the news, potential environmental disasters, and absolutely huge financial losses. And just take a look at this list. It's not like this is just an oil and gas problem, right? You've got the aviation fuel for Sky Harbor, the super pure chemicals needed for our huge tech industry, and the basic water and fire systems that protect all of our communities. Every single one of them depends on these tanks working perfectly 24/7. Okay, so this brings us to the real headache, right? Navigating this absolute maze of rules, regulations, and standards that govern these tanks. And look at this. It's not just one simple rulebook. You've got the big national players like the API and the EPA. Then you've got our own state-level ADQ. And on top of that, local fire codes. It's a whole web of regulations. And here's the kicker. Following them isn't optional. It is the absolute bare minimum to operate safely and legally. Now, inside that big web of rules, the American Petroleum Institute, or API standards, are king. And it's really, really important to get the difference between these two. You have API 650. Think of that as the rulebook for building a brand new tank. It covers everything from the ground up. But the second that tank is up and running, bam, API 650 kicks in. That's the code for its entire operational life, inspections, repairs, the whole shebang. So, with stakes this high and rules this complicated, how on earth does a facility keep up with all this? Well, the answer is pretty straightforward. You bring in the experts, the folks who live and breathe these codes day in and day out. And that's where a service like AWS CWI.com here in Phoenix comes into play. This is what they do. They're the local pros, the AWS certified welding inspectors who know those critical API and AWA standards like the back of their hand. And if you're a project manager, you know how critical time is. Getting an inspector on your site anywhere in the county in just 24 to 48 hours, that's not just convenient, that's a total game changer. It means your project doesn't stall, and you can jump on problems the moment they appear. Okay, so what does one of these expert inspection processes actually look like? Well, it's basically a detailed blueprint designed to ensure that tank's integrity from the very beginning to the very end. For a brand new tank under API 650, it's a super meticulous ground-up process. I mean, it starts before anyone even strikes an arc, reviewing the welding plans, making sure the welders are qualified. Then they go through every single critical component, the floor, the shell, the roof, every nozzle. After that, they coordinate all the high-tech testing, and finally, they are there to witness and document that all-important hydrostatic test. Now, for tanks that are already in service, the game changes a bit. We're under API 653 now, and the focus is all about long-term health. And believe me, this isn't just a quick look over. It's a periodic, in-depth evaluation to see if the tank is still fit for service, calculate corrosion rates, and figure out its remaining safe operational life. It's all about making sure that asset stays reliable for years to come. And just look at the technology they bring to the table. A certified inspector coordinates this whole suite of what's called non-destructive examination, or NDE. You've got everything from visual and magnetic particle tests for surface issues to ultrasonic testing to measure the wall thickness, and even really advanced methods like magnetic flux leakage that can scan an entire tank floor for hidden corrosion you'd never see with the naked eye. But you know, all this cool tech and all these detailed processes, at the end of the day, they're only as good as the person using them. It all boils down to the inspector. Their expertise, their qualifications, that's what separates just checking a box from truly ensuring safety. And that's exactly why these specific credentials are so important. You don't want a generalist here. You need a specialist. Someone with an AWS CWI, the API 653 certification for existing tanks, and a deep understanding of API 650 for new builds. When you see that combination of qualifications, you know you're talking to someone who can handle any tank project you throw at them. You know, the physical inspection is really only half the battle. The other half, which is just as critical, is the documentation. We're talking about comprehensive inspection records, detailed weld maps, and final reports that tie it all together. This paperwork isn't just for your files, it's your official proof that you're in compliance with the law. So this brings us right back around to that essential question. Because here's the thing, these codes and standards aren't static. They evolve. They're constantly being updated. So looking at your own operations, your own assets, you have to ask yourself, are you truly prepared for your next inspection? Are you confident you'll meet the mark? Look, if there's any doubt in your mind, the key takeaway here is simple. Connect with a local expert. For anyone managing these critical assets anywhere across Maricopa County, getting a professional consultation is the most direct way to ensure you're compliant and your operations are secure.